Welcome to The Explainer. If you work in tech, you know that quality assurance is absolutely crucial. But what's the real secret to building a truly world-class QA team? Well, today, we're going to unlock something called the QA personality matrix to find out. So what is that secret? If you're picturing one single unicorn engineer who can do it all, you might want to rethink that. The real answer is actually way more interesting and honestly a lot more achievable for pretty much any team out there. Because here's the truth. A really strong quality assurance process isn't built on just one personality type. Nope. It's built on a team, a kind of carefully balanced ecosystem of different mindsets, different skills, and different ways of looking at a problem. That diversity, that's the real magic. And to really get our heads around this ecosystem, we can look at QA personalities through a few different lenses. Each one gives us a unique angle on what makes someone tick, and more importantly, where they're likely to shine. Now, we could go deep into the classic frameworks like Myers-Briggs or the Big Five personality traits, and they're super useful, don't get me wrong. But today, we're going to focus on a third lens, one that's a bit more practical for our world: QA-specific archetypes. It's just the most direct way to see these personalities in action. All right, so let's meet them. We've basically boiled down the common high-performing QA profiles into 5 key archetypes. As we go through them, see if you recognize anyone on your team, or maybe even yourself. First up, we have the Guardian. This person is the rock of your team. Think methodical, process-driven, and just incredibly meticulous. Guardians are the protectors of product quality. They make sure nothing, and I mean nothing, slips through the cracks. They're essential for things like compliance or regression testing, where sticking to the established standards isn't just a good idea, it's everything. Next, let's talk about the detective. And just like the name says, these folks live for the thrill of the hunt. See, a detective isn't happy just finding a bug. They have this deep, burning need to understand its root cause, the why behind it. This makes them absolute gold for tricky stuff like security testing or chasing down those bizarre intermittent bugs that nobody else can seem to pin down. Then we've got the hacker, and don't worry, they're the good kind. They're on our side. This is your team's technical power. Hackers just love to get their hands dirty with code. They thrive on building slick automation frameworks, scripting solutions, and just generally pushing the technical limits to make everything more scalable and efficient. Okay, so we've gone from the deep tech hacker to someone with a totally different vibe, the explorer. Explorers are driven by a huge sense of user empathy. They're creative, they're unpredictable, and they find those weird edge cases by testing the app in all the strange and wonderful ways a real user might. They are, without a doubt, the champions for the end user experience. And finally, let's meet the analyst. This archetype sees the world in numbers, charts, and hard data. These are your masters of risk-based testing and metrics. They use their analytical brains to spot system bottlenecks, prioritize what to test, and drive decisions with cold, hard facts. When you need objective, evidence-based insights, you go to the analyst. Okay, so we have our 5 archetypes. That's cool, but knowing who they are is only half the battle. The real power comes when you know how to match these personalities to specific roles on your team. That's how this becomes a real, practical framework. Now, before we jump into the matching game, it helps to understand one core personality trait that pops up a lot in QA: conscientiousness. It's a bit of a mouthful, I know, but it basically just means being super reliable, disciplined, and on top of your game. As you're about to see, it's kind of the bedrock of quality. And boom, this table brings it all together. You can see right here how each QA specialization lines up almost perfectly with one of our archetypes. For example, a methodical guardian is a natural fit for manual QA, right? And your technical hacker is going to thrive in automation. Now, you'll see some Myers-Briggs codes on here. Don't get too hung up on those. The big takeaway is that clear, direct line between the job that needs doing and the archetype that's best suited for it. Okay, now for the grand finale. They're going to take all these ideas and combine them into a single, really powerful visual tool, the QA skills and personality map. This is where it all clicks. So this map is built on 2 main axes:
The vertical axis, going up and down, is all about the user and process focus. Think people, rules, and empathy. The horizontal axis, left to right, is all about technical focus. We're talking code, systems, and tools. Let's see how our archetypes plot onto this grid.
And there you have it. Look at that. In the top left, with a high focus on users and process but lower on tech, you've got your guardian. Then, all the way over in the bottom right, deeply technical but less focused on process, sits the hacker. But check out the other quadrants. The detective, focused on digging into issues, is down here, while the explorer, who needs to get both the user and the tech, sits in that top right spot. This map gives you an instant at-a-glance picture of your team's strengths and weaknesses. So what do you do with this map? Well, you use it. You use it to build a better, more balanced team. This isn't just some abstract theory. It's a practical tool you can use for hiring, for coaching, for everything. So here's how. First, use the map to check for balance. Do you have someone in every quadrant? You don't want to just hire a team of hackers. Second, match passion to the role. Put your tech tinkerers on the right side of the map and your people on the top. Third, create complementary pairs. A methodical guardian and a creative explorer are a powerful duo precisely because they cover each other's blind spots. And finally, use this map as a coaching tool, a roadmap to help your people grow new skills and maybe even move across the grid in their careers. So, I'll leave you with this thought. Take a minute and think about your own team. You've probably got a guardian holding down the fort and a hacker building out your automation. That's great. But who's challenging your assumptions? Who's fighting for the user? Who is your explorer?